Hey, everybody. Thank you. I love it. I'm getting with the program. This is so exciting. It's such an honor to be on this call. Wow, 237 people on this line. Can you imagine? That is goals right there. And man, just to be able to share my story. I mean, I look up to so much of the leadership inside the Netherlands. And when I got this invitation, I was just smiling ear to ear. So I really just want to say thank you to all the leaders on this call. And man, let me just get into it. I'm starstruck right now. But I'm going to share a little bit of my journey. First, I want to say congratulations for qualifying for this call because it's really a big deal. To be a part of this upper echelon of your country of distributors who are coming together to really, not only better yourselves, but better the people around you in your communities. Like, you really want to take a minute to just honor what it is that you're doing. Like, it's amazing. So if someone hasn't told you today, I want to be the first to tell you that what you're doing in your communities is quite remarkable. So with that being said, I do have some slides that I'll put on in just a minute, but I just want to share, my name is Celeste Richmond. I was born in Los Angeles, California. I was actually born in this city called Torrance, California. And it's interesting because there's actually Herbalife corporate in Torrance right now. So I kind of feel like I was destined to come into this company and in a weird way. But, after a month old, my family moved up to Northern California. And, in the States, there's the 50 states, but, Northern California and Southern California, it's all one state, but culturally, it could be two completely separate states. It takes about 6 to 7 hours to drive from LA up to Northern California. And, they're quite different in their own ways, but beautiful. Both are beautiful. Both have their amazing qualities about them. And then when I was about 19 years old, I moved back to Southern California. So I'm going to put my slides up right now for my story. Just bear with me. And I'll share with you a little bit more about how I came into this company. So let me just go ahead and move this. Okay. All right, good. Thumbs up. Okay. You guys see that? Thumbs up? Okay, awesome. So this is a picture of me in the San Francisco Bay Area, and just kind of showing a little bit of the scenic backdrop, but just giving you a little bit I want to give you guys a background of, what my life was like before I came into Herbalife and the space that I was in, because I truly believe that this company comes along at the perfect time. Sometimes it's not just that we find Herbalife. I truly believe that Herbalife finds us. So like really start reflecting on how that was that Herbalife found you, because you are a very important piece of this puzzle inside of this company. So where I was at, I moved back down to LA at 19 years old, and I was really working on just finding myself, seeing what I wanted to do. I went to college. I started, taking some classes and really just exploring what I wanted to do with my life. And now my college experience was positive. I learned a lot. I feel like the experience was very valuable. Where I probably was misinformed is I thought that if you went to college, it meant that you were going to get a good job when you graduated. And I couldn't have been, I guess, for some people that may be true, but there's other things that go into it. And so I remember after graduating college, I was like, they're going to be lined up. They're going to want to hire me. It's going to be great. And this was back in 2009 when I graduated from college. And, that wasn't the case. And I remember putting out cover letter after resume after resume. And I just remember all the responses were, we're not really hiring too much right now, but if we are, we'll definitely keep your resume on file. It was like I heard that time after time after time. It was like I could almost respond for them because I knew what they were going to say. And so I felt like it was just a polite way for a company to say, we're just not interested. And I knew that I had good qualities to bring to the table. I knew I was like, Celeste, you know what? You're smart. What's going on? You have a lot of value to bring to the world. What's going on? And I just never really had that vehicle that was going to take me from where I was at to where I wanted to go. And so, you know, that happened. And the scary part was 6 months after you graduate from college, the bills start coming in, the tuition fees. You know, I don't know if you guys have Sally Mae out there, but that's who we have and who we have to pay back when it's time to start paying our debt back. And so, you know, I think that you guys in the Netherlands have way better school care and just health care and a bunch of things. But it's like, you know, it's crazy out here. So when I had to start paying it back, I was scared because I wasn't employed yet. So now I'm getting the college bills, the tuition fees, and I'm like, okay, I really have to do something. I can't just do nothing. So it was really just searching. My mind is spinning on what am I going to do with my life? How am I going to, and it wasn't just, you know, what am I going to do with my life right now to pay these bills? But it was like, what am I going to do for the rest of my life? I felt like I was just in this twilight zone. But you know, people kept saying to me this funny saying, and I don't know if you guys have ever heard it, but they were like, Celeste, welcome to the real world. Welcome to the real world. I kept hearing that over and over and over. I'm like, what do they mean? Welcome to the real world? Like, life is supposed to be great. And, you know, I felt like people all around me were just settling for mediocrity. And so it really just like led me on this path over the next 3 years to where I would find Herbalife. So in the midst of graduating from school, I was on this high where I thought I was unstoppable. The world is mine, you know, to where I felt like soon after that jet slowly began to crash and reality was sinking in of like, you know, you either go back to school and get a higher degree, you know, or you get a job in the meantime and you work for an hourly wage and that's just life. And it seemed like everybody around me was just good for this regular life. And that's cool and everything if that's for something. But I always knew that there was something in me, right? And I believe that we have it in everybody. I believe that we have this seed of greatness in all of us that you can feel. Like, I know you can feel that thing inside of you that wants to come out and show the world, you know, not only how great you are, but it's truly about, let me shine my light, not only for myself, but for others. So they have that access and permission to shine their own light. And so anyways, I found myself in corporate America. Now, you might laugh at this next slide that I'm going to go to. It can be kind of funny, but I want you to know that at the time it was really my life, like in it. And so I'm just going to go to it. All right. Hold on one second. Okay. So this was me in corporate America. So you can see my face on the left-hand side. I was not happy. Like, these were real photos that I took. I had gotten this job and I was working for this for-profit school. And I truly felt, you know, this is around 2011 right now. So now I'm feeling like I'm a couple years out of college. I haven't accomplished much. You know, I can share with you, I was making about $20 per hour. Now, in California, I don't know the exchange rates. I don't know everything, but just track with me. In California, the cost of living is very, very high. So making $20 an hour, even being single and having no kids, like, by the time my rent is paid, by the time my cell phone bill is paid, by the time my, you know, I have a couple groceries in the fridge, and by the time my like car insurance is paid, there's no money left. Okay. So there's like literally, and I'm grateful that those things were covered. Don't get me wrong. I was grateful that I even had a job to be able to, put me in a position where my rent could be paid and my car could be paid. However, I said, is this all that there is? Like, this rat race of this 9 to 5 where you're just working to survive and get by with nothing in excess, with, you know, and I'm truly a believer now that I've done some personal development and some work. and have an understanding. But like, I truly believe that, when you start to work on yourself and feel amazing, and so many of you, I'm sure, are getting these great health results, and you've been working on yourself, you want your outside world to reflect how you're feeling on the inside. And, granted, my outside world, I wasn't feeling great on the inside here. So my outside world actually was reflecting how I was feeling on the inside. And that was like living in a very tiny studio bedroom apartment with hardly any room. I was driving my little Honda Accord. Now I love my little 94 Honda Accord. I drove it up until I hit President's Team. But, all of these different things. So I just want to paint the picture of like where I was when I first came into Herbalife. And, I definitely wasn't feeling like a success. I wasn't feeling like I was living in my purpose. I didn't feel like I was contributing or giving back for the greater good of the world. And, these are all things that I discovered I could do when I came into Herbalife. So this is a little bit about before Herbalife. So now I want you to meet my sponsor. Her name is Denise Moore, and she's absolutely beautiful. So on the left-hand side was some party that we were at before Herbalife, okay? On the right-hand side, we were at this amazing Herbalife event that we had this last March, and it was in North Carolina, and where all of the leaders from around the world come to one place at one time. Now, let me tell the difference between these photos, besides the fact that we're 80 pounds less in weight. Okay, so I don't know what that is in kilos, but in pounds, it was 80 pounds. So you might be able to do the conversion. Somebody can probably put it inside of the chat. But we feel a lot better. We're a lot healthier. This is 5 years later, right? On the left-hand side, this is before we found Herbalife, and we're partying the weekends away. Now, there's nothing wrong with partying. There's no judgment against partying, but I don't know what we were celebrating. Like, if you think about it, we weren't going for any goals or anything. Like, it was just in our culture, it's what you do on the weekends. And so many people who are working their 9 to 5s, who are barely getting by, working check to check, I found would be so quick to go spend their money and do things on party away the weekend, drink away the weekend. And I was in that mindset. Now, like I said, nothing wrong with partying. It's good to have a good time. But what was I really celebrating? So I had to, when I came into Herbalife, it was a shift inside of my mindset and my mentality. So on the right-hand side, believe me, this night, it's called Honors. You can ask your sponsor about what that event actually means. But there's a ton of things to sponsor not to sponsor. There's a ton of things to celebrate, ton of achievements to celebrate on this night, especially inside of Herbalife. And honestly, there's things to celebrate every single day inside of Herbalife. So I'm grateful for that because, being a part of a company where there's always room to strive for more. There's always another goal or another accomplishment to go for. And I feel like in life, when we're actually going for something and we're putting ourselves on the line and we're like, you know what, we're making this declaration, we are living inside of our purpose, like our best selves are coming out. We're sharpening ourselves constantly and in a place where how can we grow and become the best version of ourselves? So I'm grateful for this company and I'm grateful for my sponsor, Denise, because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be in Herbalife. So make sure, you always stay grateful for your sponsor no matter what. All they have to do is share with you the Herbalife opportunity. They don't have to tell you anything else. All they have to do is share with you, expose you to that marketing plan and sign you up and say, hey, get to an event. And the rest is up to us. And if we take that 100% responsibility, like that's where the success really, really lies. So I'm grateful for her because she gave me everything that I needed. She gave me everything that I needed. So now I want to introduce you to the coach. So many of you know this man. His name is Style Bell. He is the man, 20K executive president's team member. He's just incredible. So Style is who gave the opportunity to Denise and I. So to make a long story short, I met Style first in the sauna at a gym. Okay, so you can imagine, right? Style's a very charismatic, attractive on the inside, attractive on the outside person. Okay. But the conversation that he was having was not with me. It was with another person. And it was an A-B conversation. I was person C, but I was fascinated by what they were talking about. He was using words like passion, contribution, giving back, taking over the world, getting one person healthy at a time. I'm like, who is this guy? Who talks like this? And so next thing you know, we started sparking up a conversation. He told me a little bit about Herbalife. At that time, I wasn't ready. I didn't understand what it was. But I did know enough to catalog him in my mind as the guy who does Herbalife. And that came back to really, change my life later, because Denise, who you see here before, she and I work in corporate America together. And a week after I met Style, she stands up in her cubicle and she says, does anyone know someone that does Herbalife? And I said, you know what? I just met a guy last week. I think that you should link up with him. It's not something I want to do, but you go ahead and try it out and we'll see if it works for you. She ended up starting her nutrition program. She lost 7 pounds in her first week. So for me, that was like amazing. And I saw that and I said, you know what, like, let me not get left behind. If she's really like doing this thing, let me be a good friend, and number one, do it with her. And number two, let me not be the overweight friend that is too stubborn to start and then watch her get all the results. So I did. So he took us under his wing. He coached us and showed us the way. And he said, you know what, it's time for you guys to come, see a little bit more, be exposed to a little bit more. So he invited us to this event. Okay. So many of you know or have been to an Herbalife opportunity meeting. And if you haven't been to one, it's exciting. So like, this was my very first event either. I didn't want to go because I didn't understand what it was. But here's where the universe lined up to get me there. Is they made the meeting right next to my corporate job. So I had no excuse. Okay. So Denise was like, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take our lunch break when this thing starts at 10 in the morning. I said, 10 in the morning? That's a little early to take a lunch break. She said, don't worry about it. I'll figure it out. I'll talk to the boss, it'll be perfectly fine. And I'm like, okay, I was just rolling with the punches. Like, there's nothing that I could say. She was going to figure out how to get me there. She's like, we don't even have to drive. We don't even have to get to a car. We just have to walk across the parking lot into that hotel. I'm thinking like, dang, what are the chances of this meeting being right next to our work on a day that we're working? So I said, you know what, like, let me just go ahead and surrender and go to this thing and see what it's about. At least I can learn something along the way. So we ended up going, and this was the event that single-handedly changed my life. This is where I went from a customer to being a distributor. Okay, because the opportunity was exposed to me and I already had a great relationship with the products because I was already on my nutrition program and I was seeing the results. I was loving my shake and I was starting to meet some of the community, and now people were starting to ask me questions about, my results and whatnot. So anyways, this is when I heard a story of somebody saying that they were making $4,000 US per month. Now, at the time I'm thinking, I'm making $2,100 US per month. Okay. That's $20 an hour. After taxes, it ends up being about $2,100 a month. I'm like, so this person's doing Herbalife full time and they're making $4,000 US per month. And she and I, the girl on the stage, I was like, okay, we look enough alike. I didn't see anything, although she was very smart, funny, cute, all that good stuff. I was like, if she can do it, I can do it. And I had that belief, that crazy belief as a new person, even though I was sitting in the back of the room, I was like in the farthest row back. Like no one even noticed that I was there in the room except for Style and Denise. I did not know anybody else. And I would see people. I even saw Garen Jones. I was like, we used to call him Steph Jones back in the day. And like, I would see all these people and they were new and they were sharing their stories and stuff like that. And I said, you know what, this is like really, really cool. I want to be a part of this. And so that's really where it really started for me, where I really got the vision. And like I said, it wasn't, I did see higher shares. I saw like president's team members and things like that, but I locked in on that $4,000 a month as a vision because it was double what I was making in corporate America. So really think about like, what is that number for you that is your goal. That was my first goal to get to inside of Herbalife. And I will share with you guys, my very first month in the company, I retailed and made $1,200 profit, retail profit. And then my very first check in Herbalife was $564. So that $1,800 changed my life exponentially. So you can imagine, right, after building a strong client base and then starting to also get some members going underneath me as well, that combination was very, very powerful because I had that right now money, which was the retail money. And then I had that mailbox check that came to me, which was a wholesale check. And we'll talk more about that in some of these, later calls. Shout out to everybody who qualified for the calls that are going to come. There's always more. And if not, no worries. There's going to be some future months coming up. But, the biggest thing was it showed me that, okay, this is possible. And if I just continue to tap at it, and if I continue to get with my sponsor, and if I continue to get with style and listen and truly, truly take in what he's sharing with me. If he says go to an event, I'm going to an event, because anything that he's sharing with me to do is for my own good. And I realized that at an early age. Like I never wanted to take what he was saying as being bossy, or he just wants me to do this because he benefits him. No, anything that he's sharing with me to do is for my own good, because when I'm successful, the greater good of the group is successful. So I took everything that him and the leadership said, and I took it as gold. So the biggest thing I can say is always listen to your leadership and your uplines, because everything that they share is for the greater good of you building your Herbalife business and just ultimately changing your life. That's all they want to see you do. They only want to see you win. So I took that on, and that was huge. So here's some of my results. Shout out to the products. Again, started as a client and just focused on getting crazy results from there, building that relationship with the products. The business fell into my lap and made all the sense in the world. And people wanted to know, when you make a transformation and you have a transformation, it's amazing what happens. And people start to get really nosy. People start to ask tons of questions. And, in the beginning, Style was like, do you want the money, or, I can keep the money. Just depends on what you want to do. And he kind of presented the business opportunity to me like that. And I said, teach me what you know. I definitely want the money. And so that was kind of how it started. I started making some lifestyle changes and went from eating kind of whatever to be a little bit more structured inside of my day. Of course, fitting the products inside of my lifestyle. Shout out to the Herbal Aloe Concentrate. Still one of my favorite products right now. And all I did was use the products, wear the brand, and talk to people. And thank goodness for these 3 words, because no matter how many times you hear these 3 words right here, never check out, because these 3 words changed my life. For me, I don't have a business background. I guess I went to college, but they never taught me anything about business. They taught me how to be a very, very good employee. They taught me how to work for somebody else. They taught me how to make an hourly wage and be a very, very good employee. But they didn't teach me how to be a CEO and own my own business. So because I had no background in those things, I really wondered, can I own my own business and be successful? In Herbalife, because Mark Hughes created a foundation where the philosophy was so simple, I was like, you know what? I can latch onto these 3 things, and I can take them and I can run with them. And if I ever get overwhelmed, I'm always going to come back to these 3 things right here: using the products, wearing the brand. Shout out to the button. I never get tired of this lose weight now, ask me how button. I wear it all the time. And talk to people. And, talking to people is one of the most essential parts. And don't get tripped up on the talking to people, because I know in the beginning I could get pretty nervous talking to people. But the biggest thing is sometimes I like to just say, all we're doing is we're sharing our story. So, I'm sharing my testimonial with a lot of people. I'm sharing how this company has changed my life. And from there, people are going to take what they want. People are going to when you share your results with somebody, you're actually sharing a gift with someone, because there may be a part of your story that really resonates with them, and let them ask you or tell you what that part is. And then you can kind of begin to start a conversation with them and see what they want. So it's very cool how we can just simply share our story over and over and over with people. And some of your best clients are going to come from you just sharing your story with them, and then them telling you what they're excited about after that. And that was really the foundation I built my business on. With consistency, it began to grow. This is some of my West Coast team and some different team nights and bonding nights that we had together, which is so much fun. Like, to me, one of the things I love about Herbalife is just simply the fact that, we have a family, and we grow a family that we didn't even know that we would need or want. Like, before I came into Herbalife, I didn't know these people were going to be my best friends. But it's amazing how that happened. So these are some of my East Coast team members as well. More of the team, you can see they're just like a bunch of happy, healthy people, which I love. And now, just kind of wrapping up, I just want to share with you guys, this Herbalife. Before I came into Herbalife, my dream was to really live my life through the pages of my passport and really go places that I had never been able to go to. And this was a dream of mine well before I came into the company. And so growing inside of this company, it's been a dream come true to be able to go places. Like, even, a couple, I want to say, like, it was a year and a half ago when I went out to the Netherlands, when Garen did the leadership development weekend. Like, that was life-changing for me to be able to travel out there and go different places. So, I look at the world as like our home, right? We have this planet, we have this earth, and it's our home. And the more places that we travel to, it's like we're going into different bedrooms inside of our house. And if we don't travel, right, and this is just my opinion, take it or leave it. This is a buffet. Take the things that resonate with you, leave the things that don't. So the more that we travel, like, we're actually visiting and walking into different bedrooms inside of our house and saying, wow, this is where I live. So it's always been my goal to go to as many places as possible. So this was a picture of, like, it's a funny picture because I'm on a donkey, okay? But it's in Brazil, and that makes it really, really cool. So just think about, like, never did I imagine this scenario was going to happen when I went to Brazil. I went last year, and it was just tons of fun. Like, but it was through Herbalife that I was allowed to go to these places, or had the means or the opportunity to even go. So I share this to share with you, not to say, oh, it's great, I've been to all these places. Oh, and I was told to abuse the products. But I share this to say, where are the places you want to go to? And just what if, like, can you imagine, as you grow up in this company, like, what are the things that you want to do? And it may not even be just you. Some of you may have kids on this call, right? And I don't have kids yet, but I am excited to have kids one day. And let me tell you, I can't wait to give my kids a world-class education. And I believe that traveling with your kids and teaching them ancient history, teaching them through travel, taking them to the pyramids or the 7 wonders of the world. Like, I have a vision of doing that and being able to do that, one day. And so that's what I love about this company, is because I'm seeing that that's becoming possible. So, all I'm trying to do is just stretch your mind on, the different things that you can do. And to me, it's probably my mom planted the seed when I was a child. She's a flight attendant. She's been a flight attendant for over 40 years. And so for me, she would always plant this seed about traveling. So I think that that's where I get it from. But Herbalife has been able to take it to a whole different level. Before Herbalife, I would fly and, like, I would have to, scrape money. I would go places because my mom was a flight attendant. But when I was there, I was nickeling and diming. I didn't have money to buy anything when I was on vacations. And it was just a way different experience than flying first class with our company. And then, of course, wherever we go, we have family. Like, in Herbalife, you go country to country, and it's different than traveling before Herbalife, because now it's like wherever we go in the 95 plus countries that Herbalife is in, like, you have a family there, which enriches the experience even more. So this was in Dubai, visiting one of the tallest building in the world. And then as well, just being able to visit some of the desert safaris and whatnot. So again, like going around the world with the company. And before I stop, I want to share something that happened. This was before Herbalife. I told you I drove my 94 Honda Accord up until President's Team. So around that time, right before I hit President's Team, it started to break down. And Style was like, you know, Celeste, you're starting to make some more money. You know, at this point, I'm making over $10,000 a month with Herbalife. I hope I can say that. And, you know, and he was like, I think it's time for you to like maybe start looking into getting a car. This isn't safe for you anymore. Your car's breaking down on the side of the road. Like, you know, you're not really giving the team much vision right now. And I was just like, okay, you know what? I'll start looking into it. And for me, it was really cool because around the time when I finally made the leap to get a new car, for me, it was really about like, you know, let me make sure I'm getting from point A to point B safely. I didn't want to be somewhere at night, break down, and be in a bad situation. And the cool part is that when I was started shopping and getting a new car, one of my sidelines, who's also under Style, is our businesses don't impact each other, but she was upgrading her situation at the same time. And so I said, you know, how cool is this? What other company can we come into where we're all moving up together? So I want you to think about the friends that you have in Herbalife who are maybe your sidelines, and like get together and dream together and have that vision together where you're like, you know what, we can, you know, it doesn't have to be one or the other. We can move up and be successful as a family. So to me, this is less about the cars and it's more about the partnership and just like the sisterly love and the fact that we're so excited for each other. And again, this was Denise and I, you know, funny. The picture on the left was us quitting our jobs and leaving after, you know, we decided that we wanted to be able to go full time with Herbalife. Now, again, disclaimer, make sure that it makes sense when you go full time. We made a very calculated choice, and we met with our uplines. We knew it was the right time to be able to celebrate and go. And so, you know, whenever that time comes for you, if that's something you even want, you might not even want that. But if it is something that you want, the cool part is that, you know, it's an amazing feeling. And I'm so grateful that, you know, that time came. We were ready. As you can see, I'm throwing the peace sign up and I'm walking out to the parking lot. They escorted us out. Like I have my Herbalife bag around my shoulder. And we were just excited, like, because we were starting to create that momentum inside of our business. And it was just really, really cool. So this is my mom right here. She's my biggest fan, my biggest supporter. Shout out to my dad too. I need to get a photo of him side by side with her. But anyways, my mom, just, you know, an incredible woman. And again, like I said, she's been a flight attendant for almost 40 years. And, you know, really just the best feeling about what this company is giving me is not only has my mom lost 25 pounds, but she has been able to help me, tremendously, like by having my back and supporting me. So now I feel amazing that I'm able to give back to her and support her in ways. And, you know, whenever she's ready to retire, I told her, look, Mom, like, just let me know when you're ready to take that step. She loves her job, so she actually doesn't want to retire right now. So more power to her. But it feels good to really be able to support her financially in ways so that she's good, and my dad as well. And just really want to end it on the note, like we can give back in more powerful ways. When we're set up financially, finance isn't only about money. It's about choices. It's about, you know, when we are financially in a place that is good, and thank you to Herbalife for putting myself and plenty of other people in a good place financially. This right here shows one of the girls that I sponsor in Uganda, and she's absolutely incredible. Her name is Florence. She just turned 7. But like, think about the things that you could do or would want to do, and the way that you would want to give back to the world if you were able to at a higher capacity. And that's what Herbalife has given me. I was able to go to Africa last December and really just truly, it changed my life. It changed my whole viewpoint of the world, and I'm grateful for that. So with that being said, I just want to thank everybody who's been on the call. Thank you for the opportunity to share my story. You know, truly grateful. Like I said, again, let me stop the share. Congratulations to all the qualifiers. And I know we have another one coming up. And let me just say real quick, like, you guys have the opportunity of a lifetime with these new millennial calls. So really take advantage of them. Like when I say that, I'm like blown away. I'm like, we need to do this in the United States. Like this is amazing. So like you're a part of something that's great and your leadership is setting you up for success. So, number one action step, right? If you're inspired by this, continue, get with your sponsor, continue to do the work to make sure that no matter what, you qualify for the next one. And then even beyond that, see how you can get into the next call. Because there's levels to these calls. There's 3 calls total. So see, like, you know what? I want to get into all 3 of these calls because the information that's going to be shared on these calls is going to help you build your business to the next level. So I'm just grateful to be here with each and every one of you. I'm going to go ahead and pass the torch back and the call back to the leadership. Again, thank you so much.